Yeah, beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Stay positive, hope, and keep faith. Stand strong against any odds that you face. Put away the alcohol and the drugs. Fill your time with the things you love. Addiction is tough, but it's worth the work. Treat your body what it's worth. Spread positivity, inspire all. If we stand together, we will never fall. I help others see the other sides of life. A sober life, letting go of the strife. So give me a call, I can help. 1-844-4405-HELP. Homeless shelters, hospitals, jails, wherever you are. I am Ralf Friedrichs and I am here for you. 1-844-405-HELP.
Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, an author, and the host of this show, the Take Your Life Back radio show, combined with the YouTube version on YouTube under the channel Take Your Life Back Today show. Is he or she an addict first or a narcissist first? The 5 questions you have to ask yourself if someone close to you lives with both. If you are in a relationship with someone who, let's say, struggling with addiction and is a narcissist at the same time or at different times, you may find it difficult or impossible to figure out what precisely you should be doing, thinking, or even feeling. Let's address the addiction part first. It's likely that your understanding of this individual's addiction evolved over time because many addicts are very good at hiding their own behavior. Once discovered, close friends may make an effort to see such an addictive behaviors through the lens of the disease model, which requires empathy and understanding. My friends, it also calls on you as a close partner to be a supportive partner and as supportive as possible to help a partner in his or her struggle to recover. But what if you've come to realize that your partner is also a narcissist? Dealing with that recognition in a healthy way requires a different response than one prompted by a disease model. In fact, empathy and support are actually not helpful in dealing with a narcissist. Deep down in every addict also could be the narcissism coming from. And is every narcissist actually an addict? These are difficult questions that the partner of a narcissism addict have to explore and answer for him or herself. The link between addiction and narcissism is a link that needs to be discovered. I feel as though the narcissist in a person's life actually enjoys the attention he or she receives at meetings and at counseling, and makes him or herself feel special because they consider themselves worst case scenario in the group. It can take 2 years to discover that a husband or a wife was a closet alcoholic. They discover it in a banal way by finding a cheap bottle of booze in the briefcase. They could be drinking at the office. It could take up to years for them to actually bottom out, losing that person in the process. They could be going through meetings to placate you and maybe even speaking to sponsors just to appease you. Here are some of the stories that some people say. He got a sponsor and the whole 9 yards, but with that apparent progress came other changes that were hard to ignore. He brushed aside my anger at having been lied to for years, a person had written in. All alcoholics lie, as if the fact excused their behavior. He liked the attention he got at meetings. The more his sobriety asserted itself, the clearer his narcissistic traits became clearer. He never made amends to me, or anyone else for that matter. When I asked for a divorce, the narcissist was in full view. In a proactive study, narcissism and addiction to esteem, Roy Baumeister and Kathleen Vose argued that narcissism is, in fact, more like an addiction than a lifelong personality trait. They applied the cycle of addiction, cravings, increasing tolerance, and withdrawal to narcissism and found that, indeed, craving to feel superior and indulgence of those cravings may be the defining feature of narcissism, and narcissists appear to be constantly on the lookout for new, greater triumphs and bring them greater glory. Finally, the authors address withdrawal. When narcissists receive something other than the admiration they crave, indifference, criticism, disrespect, they exhibit considerable distress. Seeing narcissism as having the hallmarks of addiction also explains instability of a narcissist's relationships, which, they note, may be a function of depleting the supply of admiration he or she is getting from the source. They tire of their partners when self-esteem benefits have no longer forthcoming. In his book, The Narcissist You Know, Joseph Burgo includes the addicted narcissist as a type of extreme narcissism. He notes that while all addicts aren't narcissists, addictive and narcissistic personalities have many features in common, including a pronounced lack of empathy for the people around them, which is a function of a stronger relationship the addict has to do for him or herself drug of choice, as well as relying on their drugs to boost the self-esteem at the expense of the people around them. This is according to Burgo. A deep-rooted sense of shame is at the core of both narcissistic and addictive behaviors. What should your stance be in your partner if your partner is both an addict and a narcissist? How do you balance empathy and understanding for the guy with the hidden bottles of alcohol he can't stop drinking with your understanding of your partner's impaired empathy, essential emotional disconnectedness, and basic disregard for your feelings? This is where the terrain gets rocky and unstable. Burgo is careful to state that if you're emotionally involved with an addictive narcissist, you need first of all to recognize that you can't possibly save him on your own. He points out to the possible dangers of this dynamic. Even more than the other extreme narcissist, the addicted narcissist forces us to examine ourselves, to question what binds us to a relationship that seems on the surface so unsatisfactory. Perhaps the addict's dependency makes you feel secretly superior, like a comparative winner. Maybe your apparent loving devotion and self-sacrifice don't reflect true concern. In other words, your own generosity and lack of empathy may be disguised behind a show of saintlessness or victimhood. Within the professional literature, covert narcissists, co-narcissists, and inverted narcissists are frequent articles about that. These are tough words to read if you've been ensnared in the painful, horrible mess of a relationship with someone who is both an addict and a narcissist. But I believe Burgo is right to underscore that you must examine your own motivations and ask yourself the tough questions. Why am I here, and why do I continue to stay? Should be one of your questions. There is no question about the role impulsivity plays in addiction, although there is a disagreement about whether it's a failure in self-regulatory processes or a function of the drug or substance producing both a lowered sense of consequence and a heightened sense of pleasure. One thing that has intrigued researchers about narcissists is that they are ultimately playing a losing game and prone to self-defeating behaviors. I realize that if you are struggling with your feelings for a narcissist, you're not seeing him or her as a losing, or more directly caring about potentially losing you. But bear with me. While it is true that initially narcissists make a good impression on people, it's also true that their relationships almost always fail in time, and that the initial high regard with which they held will eventually turn to disdain. They win what they need, adulation, a sense of superiority, a feeling of power, but only in a short burst. Then they have to start all over. Needless to say, psychologists want to know why narcissists engage in the activities that keep them from getting what they want. Samin Valazier and David Funder decided to look into what caused these self-defeating behaviors, asking, was it a function of conscious, cognitive, and affective processes, or something else? They honed in on impulsivity and conducted a meta-analysis existing literature. They pointed that impulsivity was the cause. If so, that seems to make the kinship ties of narcissism and addiction even more evident. But their assertion about impulsivity was taken on by another team of researchers led by Joshua Mill and Keith Campbell and others who take was different, posting that it was impulsivity per se, but the fact that narcissists only pay attention to the possibility of reward, not the potential downside, aided and abetted by their antagonistic interpersonality qualities. As a layperson who has had the misfortune of being connected to an addictive narcissist, the takeaway here isn't pinpointed whether it's impulsivity or something else. It's realizing that while the addict may be able to curb their impulse to grab their drug of choice, the narcissist will remain with his or her lack of, unlikely changes. Narcissists usually will do whatever it takes to make a difference in their own lives, not in other people's lives. So we continue we need to continue to be on a lookout between the connections between the narcissist and addiction, and we need to be aware of these things, and we need to make sure that we are fully armed with whatever it needs to be. To the extent that you can't depend on people, you'll depend on other sources to soothe yourself, like feeling special, narcissism, or watching pornography, or getting drunk. But addiction makes us all more narcissistic, willing to lie, steal, cheat, and even exploit others to get the high. So we need to be on guard. We need to set the parallels between the two. If you really want to know if your partner can change after substance abuse treatment, Malkin says, you need to ask yourself these 5 questions that I'm going to let you folks know in my audience. As your partner overcomes his or her addiction, are there 2 of you still feeling distant? Does your partner announce that they've made the most progress of anyone at AA instead of just sharing with you their vulnerable feelings, like maybe sadness or loneliness or even fear? Does your partner show a pattern of exploitation, entitlement, and empathy impairment, which I choose to call the triple E, the hallmark of psychological narcissism, even after they stop using? Does their emotional sharing feel empathy or shallow, fueled largely by 12-step jargon instead of genuine remorse or sadness for the pain they have caused? Are they secretive about their treatment experience as though you couldn't possibly understand what it's like unless you've been there? If your answer to any of these questions, my friends, was yes, then it's likely that your partner or someone in your family, narcissism is the core problem, and they're using 12-step program to feel special in a new way instead of turning to you for mutual care and comfort. Malcolm explained in that the case, he says, recovery is merely another way of narcissist self-soothes one of the many instead of enjoying true emotional intimacy. You should view their narcissism as you would any severe addiction. It takes a lot of work to break an extreme special feeling, and you have to decide if you're willing to stick around while your partner does it. In this case, slips mean a return to arrogance, self-involvement, perhaps even emotional abuse. But being armed with the knowledge that your partner faces 2 addictions, not just one, is empowering, Malcolm says. Folks, if your partner is only getting their drug from other people that are maybe straightforward and not being treated for the narcissism, there is no hope of change. The decision to leave an important relationship is never easy. When you learn that someone you love and care for is addicted, your first impulse may be one of empathy and support, but it's important that you look carefully at what precisely your partner is addicted to. Is it a substance or activity, or feeling special, or both? I hope this helps you with narcissism and addiction. Call me at 844-405-HELP. Together, we can help each other take our lives back. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Remember, a simple smile to a total stranger can go a whole long way. May God bless each and every one of you. And there is a parallel between addiction and narcissism. I hope this video has helped you. I hope this radio show has helped you. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. Take good care. And may God bless each and every one of you. Take care now. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, the show is over, but your life starts today. Taking back your life's the only way. Keep faith, stay positive, push through. Take back your life, it starts with you. Alcohol and drugs can't control your life. Let go of the negative and the strife. Ralf Friedrichs is the man guiding your way. The show is over, but your life starts today. Call Ralf Friedrichs at 1-844-405-HELP. That's 1-844-405-HELP. We hope you love the show today and tune in next time. Take back your life, today's show with Ralf Friedrichs. Yeah.
Folks, there is a connection between addiction and narcissism. Hard enough to have a husband or a wife or a family member who has an addiction to battle that. But when that addiction is combined with that same individual having narcissistic qualities, or I shouldn't even say qualities, narcissistic signs, the battle for total recovery becomes so much harder. There are parallel lines. Watch this video, listen to the radio show, and do your own research. You can find a lot of that research at the Mayo Clinic. But there are parallel comparisons between narcissistic behavior and addiction. May God bless each and every one of you folks, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. See you tomorrow.